Yay.
We don't play the social game. We are social. Power 98.5. You're listening to Power 98.5, powered by United Angels Dream, your #1 resource for public relations, entertainment, and multimedia. Contact them today at unitedangelsdream.com.
Prepare yourself.
Okay, let's go.
Good morning, Susie, and we're already talking about food, rice, eggs. What else?
Good morning, Stephen. I'm always good for food. So, yeah, we can even change the whole topic of this program to food, and I'm good with that.
What did you make this morning?
Well, I was lazy. I had a croissant with a nice latte that I made at home. So, pretty simple.
Oh, and coffee or just latte?
A latte, yeah. Like I have one of those, is it a ballad? I think it's Italian espresso thing that you use. And yeah, I do my own. I have a nice little frother and fantastic.
Wow.
Save $5 instead of going to Starbucks.
Oh, yeah. I'm still a Starbucks lover. I switched to a decaf Americano, iced decaf Americano. The cold brew after 8 years really wasn't too comforting on a tummy.
So, it's so funny because I think prior to Starbucks, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think coffee was so complicated. Now there's all these choices. It's interesting where we've gone with coffee.
Well, especially the foo-foo drinks. Do you drink any of the fraps? You try the unicorn drinks or any of that stuff?
No. as adventurous as I am in life, I'm a little less adventurous with my coffee.
Oh, what do you put in your in what's going on in your latte?
In my latte,
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Again, just a coffee, espresso, and some 2% milk. So not too creative.
Not bad, not bad. How many a day do you have?
How many? Sorry.
How many a day do you have? How many cups?
Well, the thing is, I used to drink like 3 cups of coffee, and I've narrowed it down to 1 now, which is fantastic because you don't want to go overboard with anything in life, except music.
There you go. Suzi Kory in the house. Thank you for being with me and everyone here today on Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco. And I'm going to say, let's get the show started.
I'm ready.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
I'm loving how this show is starting already with you.
Well, it's funny because even before we got started, we had this whole lengthy conversation, pretty deep.
It usually is best that way. It just helps with the flow and the energy and just a nice get to know.
Yeah, for me, a lot of these interviews that I do, there's no pre-planning. I never ask anybody what is going to be the questioning or, what are we going to talk about? Because it's kind of cool and you just let it flow. And I think you have that vibe too, which is, it's an amazing way to be in life in general, not just interviews.
Mm-hmm. Bring me up to speed and share with everyone what's going on with you, your career, your business. And I know you just dropped Love Revolution recently.
Yeah, about a week ago. And, it's gotten great feedback. I'm really happy with it. And I think, just a lot of times when people are putting out music, there's the business side of it, of course, and you want success on that side. But I think, when you have something that has a message that's important and you want to get it out there for different reasons, and it's not just for financial gain or for stardom, I think that's much more important because it comes from a deeper level. And you're trying to create something that is going to create change, hopefully. And not to say, I'm the one who's going to be the one changing the world. But if you can just give people something that gives hope and gives a feeling of love and understanding and with a great message, especially more than ever right now with everything we've got going on, I felt like the timing was just perfect for the song. And so I'm feeling it, getting it back from people and the reaction that it's getting. So I'm happy about that part.
I wasn't too sure if I wanted to go here this soon, but I'm going to honestly say just to, bring in more of the mood. You think we should listen to it?
Absolutely. So people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's get it going. Love Revolution by Suzi Kory. I feel like having a mimosa already.
Maybe I should go make one too. That's what I need after the latte. You're right.
Something else is coming up. We're going to put that on pause real quick. You're just going to keep going and going. That's what great goodness does.
Well, I did tell you that I don't stop, so my music doesn't either.
I like the continuous play. That was Secret Garden that was about to play, just for everyone to know.
That's more of my spiritual song.
Tell me, what inspired you in this whole process?
Are you talking specifically about Love Revolution or the whole thing of getting into music?
The whole thing. We don't want just one cookie. We want the whole bag of Oreos.
Got it. So, my story is, this is the just version because it's a long one, but from when I was a child and I think into my teenage years, that's when I discovered I wanted to be a performer. I remember seeing Guns N' Roses for the first time when I was like 13. It was my first concert, and the energy and the rawness and that performance, that especially, the whole band was fantastic. But when I saw Axl Rose, that just like something struck me and I went, that's no. And, I remember telling my parents and they thought I was crazy and they said, hell no, you're not doing that. So, this is not the kind of family we are. This is not what we're going to get into. And I kind of drifted off into another path in life and, ended up getting married, having kids, and worked my way up the corporate ladder. And I went to my second passion, which is travel and aviation. And I've worked in that for several years and certainly don't regret it because I've been able to travel the world. But it was only a few years ago that I ended up, deciding that I want to follow my passion and my dream that I'd put aside for so many years. And, you figure you have nothing to lose. What are you waiting for? And I think a lot of people do that, where they put things aside and thinking one day, I might do this. Well, that one day is not guaranteed. So whatever you've got to do, and this kind of wake up call just happened. And that's when I started deciding that, I was going to try and do this, even though it was funny because at the time, this was about 4 years ago when it was starting to come into my head to do this. I had no experience. I had no connections in the industry. I've never taken formal music lessons, never really written a song. So I was literally starting, I wouldn't even say from zero, I'd say from somewhere below zero. And to say, okay, well, where do I get started? And I did things like going to open jams around the city in Toronto where I live. I met a lot of musicians. I asked a lot of questions and I was like a sponge, just wanting to get information. I started going to conferences, music conferences, connecting with people, even though at that point I didn't even have music written. I didn't have music myself. So it's not like I had something to show these people. But I found that later on when I did start writing and recording, which was in 2017, I had already made connections, so, and that taught me early on, connect with as many people as you can, because you don't know when those connections will come into play. And I think we were talking about that earlier before we got on air, where I said to you, it's about planting seeds, and that's all you do. You just keep planting things. Sometimes you don't even know what the purpose of that is at that point in time in life, but it will come to help you later on. And so, in 2017, I wrote and recorded my first group of songs. I was doing rock music because that's what I grew up on. And I worked with an amazing artist here, John Angus Macdonald, from a big Canadian band called the Trews, and he produced the songs. And then a few months down the road, I decided I wanted to write some new material and ended up working with someone else I had met later in the year. He actually lives in Burbank in California, and he's my current producer, Brent Woods. And something really strange happened when we started working together. We started co-writing songs, and he was very insistent on finding my own sound, so not trying to be anything or trying to imitate someone, which I was sort of trying to do when I first got into the music because, being a lover of Guns N' Roses, I think I was trying to channel Axl Rose somehow. But when I started working with Brent and we focused on finding my own sound, as something really strange happened, which is the music kind of turned to country more so than rock. So it's been an interesting journey so far.
Rock or country or both? Which one is your real passion?
Well, that's why I kind of call myself a country rock artist because, it can go either way. And even when I perform, a lot of my songs they're not straight ahead country. I'm not sounding like I'm coming out of Nashville. And I think I kind of do that, not intentionally. It's just, I think the more you stay genuine to yourself, you will create something that's unique for you, and not trying to sound like anyone else or anything else. And the fact that also I'm working, with a producer in California, whereas most of the country artists I know of either work with someone here in Canada or in Nashville. I think that also adds a different kind of style to it, just because it's coming from a different place, that also has an effect somehow on it. But it's been an interesting journey.
What's very interesting is you were born in Beirut, correct?
Yes.
Then your family ended up going to Toronto and staying.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in Toronto. I'm very thankful to my parents. And, with all due respect to Lebanon, I'm proud to have been born there. But I literally came to Canada when I was 8 months old. So I didn't learn a lot about where I was born. But, being Middle Eastern, I have traveled there several times. I actually lived in the Middle East when I grew up later on and had a taste of it. So it was very interesting. And it was cool to kind of get in touch with my own culture, of my family and get to know people and so on. And, any time in your life when you can kind of broaden your surroundings and experiences, it's an amazing thing. And I think whether you know it or not, it comes back to serve you in everything you're doing. So even, with the music and stuff, I've had a lot of people tell me, you don't sound North American, you sound like you have an international sound. And I didn't get that at first, but then I do now more so. I think, everything affects you somehow and influences you. And so the more influences you can get in your life and experiences, I think it, just makes it more interesting and more creative. So it's a fantastic thing.
You've got a very light, very solid and grounded, vibe about you. However, we all know like there can be challenges in life. Have you faced bullying in your career? Have you faced the pressure of being perfect in your career?
I don't want to sound so optimistic about everything, but we chatted about this and I told you that kind of, I'm just a person who has a very positive outlook on a lot of things, and perspective is so important, not just in your career, in your life and everything. And I found that doesn't mean I haven't been through difficult situations. Of course, I'm human, and every human being is going to go through loss. You're going to go through disappointments. But what I've learned, and I think, it's very important to do that work before you get into something, especially like the music industry, is doing the work on yourself, and any industry really, but especially the entertainment industry, where people can be harsh, people can be very direct. And, we even discussed this beforehand where I was talking about, you put out a song and you're going to get several different reactions. It's the same song, but you're going to get people who hate it. You're going to get people who don't like it, who don't think it's good. I think when you have the confidence in yourself, and it's not a cockiness, it's a belief in why you did what you did. For example, this song, the latest song, Love Revolution. I have a purpose there, and there's a message there, and it's important for me to get it out to people. So it's not just self-serving. It's not about Suzi Kory and here's my single and listen to my song. It's about, I'm trying to just spread something positive here. And if I can do that, that's great. And I got all reactions across the board of people saying, well, this doesn't suit our format. This is great, but it doesn't work for us. But you can't take offense to that because, it's a matter of opinion. And again, if you have that confidence in yourself that you believe in what you've done, you don't take offense to those kind of comments, and you understand that there's a creative side, but there's also a business side to things. And, it's not something you take personally. And that's very important, again, coming into something like this where you're in the music industry. I think taking things personally is not the way to go for sure. You just keep going, no matter whether you get yeses, nos. And by the way, it's very important to know, even when I get the successes, so people say, we love this. Oh my gosh, yes, we're going to, you don't go over the moon with your reactions either. You try and stay in an even, calm place. So I don't overreact either way, not when things are negative, nor when they're super positive either. If you start believing the hype too, that's just as bad as believing the negative stuff.
I'm just processing a lot of just knowing of all the information here, wanting to get out a lot of those golden nuggets, and to add, your website is supreme, absolutely supreme. So whatever's going on in the back end, bravo on the website.
Thank you. We also talked about that where I do my own, pretty much all my own work. And that's where it's been incredible as a learning process. I'm a firm believer, throw yourself into things, do things you've never done before. And don't worry, it's all a learning process. Right now, I'm in the midst of literally a week ago, I decided that I wanted to do this festival and put on a drive-in concert. And, of course, people think you're nuts at first. I have no experience, never done anything like this before. But I'm I think this is totally doable. And I really want to do this because a lot of my musician friends, the local country artists that I know here, were so wanting to get out there and perform again, in whatever format it takes on now that we are able to do as live performances. And if the drive-in concept is the way it's going to move right now, well, let's get on it and let's do something. And, again, I'm just doing something that I've never done before. I have no experience, but just in the past few days, from talking to the person who's giving us the land, to talking to local radio stations to get them on board, to trying to find a frequency so people can tune in using their cars. I'm learning all these things that I would have otherwise not known anything about. So that's life, and everything is a learning process. And I think sometimes people are afraid to be challenged. They're afraid to do something they know nothing about. But that's where humility comes in. And you said about have I ever been bullied or felt bad, about things? I think you can't take things too seriously. I mean, obviously, I take the music seriously. I want to put good stuff out there, but I don't take myself so seriously that, I take offense to things or anything. I make fun of myself. I make mistakes. I do silly things. I might try and do this festival and, who knows how it's going to go. All I know is that my intentions are good. My purpose for doing something like this is I want the artists to have the best day of their life, best night of their life. And I want the people who come to have a great time. And let's remember what it's like to get together and listen to music and enjoy it. So that's my purpose behind it. Now, during the process of doing this, again, I'm the one benefiting in that I get to learn a lot. And, you learn as a human the things that you didn't know you were even capable of doing. All of a sudden you realize, wow, I actually can get a lot done, a lot more than I thought. And that was the same thing with getting into music. Like I mentioned to you, that I got into it with no experience, no connections, nothing. And I had been living in the Middle East for 13 years. So even when I moved back to North America, I didn't know a lot about the music scene. I didn't know bands, popular artists, who was really in, because, the artists that are big in the Middle East are not the same that what's going on here in North America. So it's great to be learning.
Canada and the United States, do you notice a lot of difference between what the music industry wants and what they expect from you? Even in comparison, I know you did share about the Middle East as well, but what are the learning curves or the good learning of processing of how to maneuver through the music industry and entertainment industry have you found, even compared to, once again, Canada and the US?
Well, I wouldn't come off as an expert with the music industry because obviously I'm not. I'm also constantly learning and making connections. I ask a lot of questions and trying to understand about the industry. Would I say there's a big difference? I mean, at the end of the day, the music industry is the music industry. It's probably just a bigger scale in the US relatively speaking, because of population and so on. Like, all of Canada's 30 million and California is 30 million people. So it's a much bigger market. In terms of, as an artist, how you look at it, I would only say always be you. You can't be changing to accommodate for what you think people want or what the industry wants, because you could end up falling into a trap of trying to be something that already exists. And who wants to be like every other artist that exists anyways? You're competing head on with the big names who've already made it. Being yourself and trying to forge your own path, it probably gives you a better possibility of creating something exciting and something new. And why not try and aim for that? And, it's not something you try and do intentionally. All it means is be who you are, find who you truly are. And I've seen that the more genuine you are with people, that's what touches people. And that's where you can strike a chord with people, is honesty and being, I don't put on this persona. So the things you see on social media, I'm not trying to pretend to be someone. I am all those people. I'm the girl who likes wearing a cowboy hat and boots. I'm the girl who likes wearing leather and being a rock star, and being a rocker. I have all these sides to me, and it's okay to be all those things. And if it's not a cookie cutter thing that fits one particular mold, well, so be it. I have to do something that I'm comfortable with and that I can live with, because I think that's also where some artists, end up miserable. Even if they have huge success, they put themselves into a certain box or certain mold that they can't break out of, because they've had such a great success with that they're stuck with it, even though they know that, either their agents, promoters, their record label, whoever has decided that for them, and they have to go along with it, even if it's not who they really are. So be true to yourself.
Perfectly expressed. Absolutely love it. And you own all of your material, correct?
Yeah. So I co-write my music with my producer, Brent Woods. It's a 50-50. But the publishing, I've got my own publishing company. And just a couple of weeks ago, I actually registered on paper. I've got my own record label, I can't even say it, Love Revolution Records. And yeah, I'm a firm believer in stay independent as long as you can. We're in a day and an age where, as an independent artist, you have so much power and an ability to be able to make the connections yourself. We were also talking about the fact, like LinkedIn, I don't think enough artists use that. And yet that's one of the most powerful tools that we have. You've got the industry right there at your fingertips. You're able to reach out to people, people like CEOs of labels and A&R companies, and, whatever it may be, they're easily accessible, and it just comes down to you. And are you going to make the effort to try and reach out to those people? So, you don't necessarily need a label behind you. And in the day and age that we're in anyways, labels probably won't reach out to you until you don't need them anymore. You'd have to reach a certain level of success where you're actually already got your fan base and you're already huge. Well, at that point, why do you necessarily need a record label? If anything else, they're just cutting into your profits that you could be taking in and pocketing yourself. So it's an interesting time.
That is happening more and more every day, where artists are realizing they don't need a big record label. They're doing what you're doing.
Right. And, I was even telling you from my perspective for radio, for example, we know that a lot of the major radio stations, you won't necessarily get airplay if you're not signed to a label. So I get that part of it, that maybe that helps you out, being signed to a label. Having said that, then you just take another approach. It's like the saying that if you can't get through the door, you try the window. So for myself, I've moved my target from going towards, the major big commercial radio stations to smaller public radio, college stations, universities, whatever it may be, local, campus radio and stuff. So you just change your focus, and then you're able to get the success. Yes, it's going to be smaller successes, but it doesn't matter. You're moving in the right direction. And if you create enough noise on that level, it will reach the people that you want to reach higher up.
Now, will you be taking on, or more specifically, representing artists under your new label?
I think, that's the way I'd like to go eventually. I think it's way too early only because I have kind of goals for myself. I'd like to reach a certain level of success as an artist myself, because then I know how it's done. I don't think you want to take on other people when you yourself have not reach certain milestones. Once you're able to reach them and understand how it works and how to get there, then you can help others. Because I've met a lot of talented people, and that's kind of the reason why I started the label, because I'd love to represent others. And as I'm going through this right now, I've actually had people approach me and say, hey, can you manage me? Because they see me doing things for myself, and they find out that I book my own shows. I promote my own music. I've been able to get airplay on radio. They want me to be able to help them out. And right now, I'm more than happy to help people if they just want to give me a call or reach out and send me a message. I'll give you whatever advice you want. But would I take on an artist? I think not yet. It's too early. Again, I'd have to get those successes myself so that I know how to get there, and I'm still on my own journey right now.
You're going to do very well. You're a teacher, you're a mentor. There's a lot of great skills and mentorship that you can offer other people without the expectation that you have to do it or you need to do it. It's just made up of everything that's beautiful about you. I hear it. I feel it. It's in your inflection. It's in your presence online. There's a big, huge stage waiting for you, Suzi. And when you're ready to step on it, you're gonna expand and create a lot of great safe space for people that are gonna need you.
Well, life is very interesting, and it throws you so many signs of the direction you need to take. I think it's just seeing those signs and understanding what they mean so that you can take advantage of the right things and be going on the right path in life. I had a couple of years ago, something happened to me where I kind of fell into doing motivational talks, and it's nothing that I'd been planning. I'd never had it in my head to be doing that. But I started giving these talks, and I realized how much I love it, not from a perspective of, preaching to people. Instead, what I do is I just tell my own story and how, I decided at this point in my life with teenage children to all of a sudden, follow my passion of becoming a performer, which a lot of people might think, it's crazy that who would do that when you've already got a fairly successful career in the business world. But to take those chances, take those risks, I started telling that story. And you notice that, your personal story, which started off being about you, all of a sudden is inspiring other people, and how it can just be so contagious, and spread. That's the incredible thing about all of this is it has to be selfless. It's not about you. But it's realizing that your purpose on this earth and in this life, and even in the thing that's your passion that you thought was for you, has nothing to do with you. And I remember reading a book by Simon Sinek, Start With Why. And he talks about you have to know the reason why you're doing something. And even when I first got into this, I will never forget getting a book, which is like my diary, and writing, why am I doing this? I needed to understand, why do I want to be a performer? What was the reason behind this? And I remember writing in it, to write songs that touch people's souls. That's really what I want. So it's been my guideline through all of this. So, when you're trying to make a decision on something, I keep questioning myself, what is my purpose for wanting this? Is it because I'm still aligned with that goal of wanting to touch people's souls and to bring positivity into people's lives? And if it doesn't align with that, well, then I'm doing it for the wrong reason. And that's where you have to be careful. But, having that moral compass to help you is so important. And coming back to the whole thing of maybe not necessarily being with a big team of people and initially being as independent as you can, part of the reason that that's important is because you listen to your own voice, and nobody in this world knows what you need to do in your life more than yourself. But a lot of people don't listen to their own voice, either because they've got too many people around offering opinions and reasons. And, people can be very persuasive and convince you to believe that you think that that's the right thing, when in your heart of hearts, you don't feel it's the right thing. So the more you can be on your own, listening to your own voice and following that instinct, you're going to be on the right path, and that's helped me so far.
Perfectly expressed. I think we should do another song. How about you?
Absolutely.
What are you feeling?
Probably The Secret Garden, because, to me, that's a very spiritual song. It's the first song that I put out with my new producer. And I wrote that song because it's about a journey of self-discovery. The Secret Garden is your soul, and listening and going in that deep into yourself and rediscovering who you are. It talks about kind of the idea of being a child. When you're a child and you're unaffected by everything around you, you pretty much know who you are. But as we grow up and as we become adults and, you start to be affected by your environment, your childhood, your parents, your family, friends, whatever it may be, you become a different version of yourself that's probably as far as possible from the person you truly are. And it's funny that as you grow older, if you do the work that you need to do, you actually, can reverse that and go back inside yourself and rediscover who is at the core of yourself. And that's when amazing things happen, and that's when you really shine and people can see it. It's like this internal light that glows. And I hate to sound all why, and spiritual, but it's the truth, and so the Secret Garden is all about just rediscovering who's already inside you. And it's incredible when you do, and you listen to that and you follow that path in life and nothing else. You don't let anything detract you.
The Secret Garden by Suzi Kory.
Welcome to the Secret Garden. Sit yourself right down, where the love is overwhelming, but feeling safe and sound. Trust your basic instinct and free yourself of thought. Now doubt cannot invade you, or the peace you fiercely sought.
have one word. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. How do you feel?
It's interesting to sit here and listen to my song as it's playing and still understand. And, I get teary-eyed. I do. And I remember people laughing at me and my friends, because they know that I'll listen to my songs in the car and they're like, we don't really know a lot of people like listening to themselves. And I go, it's not a selfish kind of thing. It's just, to me, the songs mean a lot. And there's a lot of, obviously my own personal story behind it. So I think it's, I hope that it resonates with them and they can feel it too. And it provides some kind of hope for them, because at the end of the day, that's what the songs are there for. It's for, thinking about a lot of things that sometimes it's so funny. Sorry, I can go off on so many tangents, but with everything that's going on right now and people, life is slowing down a little and people are having more time to think and to spend time with themselves. I think that's where people have to do a lot of self-reflection. And the reward of doing that is that you start to have these, aha moments. And, people might discover things about themselves that they really haven't known before. It's always been there, but they haven't really taken the time to understand it. And the minute you start to see those things and understand yourself better, it'll help you in where you're going with your life and the reasons why you're doing it. So I think it's a very interesting time.
Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, let love rule. It's all about love. In life, there's either love or fear. Choose love.
Favorite quote?
Right?
And what would be your favorite quote?
Oh, favorite quote. I thought you were saying that's yours. If you believe you can, and if you believe you can't, you're right.
I like it. I like it. Thank you for being with me here today, Suzi, and everyone. Check out Suzi Kory. And Suzi, let's not forget the drops. Where can everyone find you?
So my handle on all social media is Suzi Kory, SUZIKORY. And my website, as you mentioned earlier, is www.suzikory.com. So check it out.
And remember, The Secret Garden, Love Revolution, played here on Power 98.5.
Friend us on your socials and let's connect.